When did you realize your almost fiance's rare condition was a gaslighting plot? AITA for thinking my almost fiance's rare condition is a massive gaslighting operation designed to make me look like the bad guy. I mean, I'm sitting here at 3:17 a.m. in my beat-up 2018 Honda Civic in the parking lot of a 24-hour convenience store, eating a melting Talenti gelato, sea salt caramel naturally, and trying not to light my phone on fire from scrolling through 5 years of texts. I just found out the entire wedding, the one that was 6 weeks away and cost us almost $20,000 already, might be canceled because of a diagnosis that literally popped up overnight. Seriously, buckle up because the audacity of these people is just breathtaking. I'm Justin Shaw, 32M, and I work for a mid-sized nonprofit that handles elderly care advocacy. It's rewarding work, but NGL, the pay is absolute garbage. I've been dating Nicole Howard, 32F, for 2 years and 8 months, and we got engaged in December. Nicole is the sweetest, most organized person I know, or was the sweetest person apparently. She's an objection maker in her legal aid role, which means she's brilliant at spotting holes in arguments. That should have been my first clue, right? She was too good at dismantling my logic when we argued about leaving the dishes out. Past me was an absolute clown for thinking that was cute. We work at the same organization, just different departments. That's why this entire thing is so messy. The problem started subtly about 3 months ago, right when we finalized the venue deposit. Nicole started making little comments about being exhausted. I thought, okay, normal wedding stress, right? We're trying to balance our $1,247 rent payment, paying off her outstanding student loans, and somehow saving up enough for a security deposit on a house. Money is tight. I've been picking up overtime on weekends just to make sure we could afford the $43.67 Trader Joe's grocery bill without dipping into savings. She started missing shifts. Like, she'd text me at Tuesday at 11:47 a.m. just 10 minutes before her big departmental Zoom meeting. Can't come in, bad headache. I'd usually text back, rest up baby, want me to grab anything on the way home. Then came the character chaos. Our friend group is small but intense. The biggest problem child is Patrick Smith, 32M. Patrick and I have been friends since college, but holy hell is he exhausting. He's the type of friend who copies literally everything you do. I bought an iPhone 14, he bought the exact same one 2 weeks later. I started a new workout plan with a Peloton. He was suddenly logging 400 steps a day on his Apple Watch and telling everyone about his new fitness journey. It's annoying but harmless mostly. He was supposed to be my best man, and I swear he's been rehearsing his toast since the engagement party. He's usually supportive, if extremely competitive. But then Patrick started developing the exact same symptoms as Nicole. Nicole would mention she had to cancel a coffee date because she was experiencing profound fatigue. The next day, Patrick would text me, dude, I am wiped. The profound fatigue is real. Gotta prioritize self-care. Nicole would say her fingers were tingling and she couldn't type up a brief. Patrick would show up to our weekly Costco run wearing compression gloves and dramatically shaking his hands, complaining about nerve involvement. I brought it up to Nicole once, gently like, hey, have you noticed Patrick is literally mirroring everything you complain about lately? She looked me dead in the eyes, I swear her eyes were completely glassy, which is also new, and said, Justin, that is an incredibly insensitive thing to say. Patrick is highly empathetic. He is simply recognizing the weight of chronic illness that I am dealing with, chronic illness. That was the phrase that started popping up constantly. She hadn't even seen a doctor yet. Just Google and TikTok. I know, red flag, past me was an idiot. The main complication isn't just Nicole though, it's the spectacle being made out of this. Enter Grace Fitzgerald, 19F. Grace is the youngest member of our nonprofit team. She's basically an intern junior associate, and she's a self-professed textbook narcissist. She doesn't even hide it. She refers to herself as the main character and constantly films everything for her Instagram story. She also absolutely worships Nicole. Nicole is her mentor, and Grace, being 19, is totally susceptible to Nicole's current drama. Suddenly, Grace was making daily TikToks from the office on the 5th floor, holding up a Starbucks drink, whispering things like, sending strength to my amazing mentor Nicole, who is facing unimaginable hardship right now. Remember, invisible illness is real. The visibility of this was driving me insane because Nicole hadn't missed her weekly Hulu night, nor had she stopped ordering $347 worth of Amazon clothes. She just couldn't manage to load the dishwasher or attend the 5:30 p.m. staff meeting. The math was not mathing, you know. Then came Amanda Khan, 43F. Amanda is Nicole's future mother-in-law, and she is homophobic. Not subtle, quiet homophobic. She is aggressively homophobic. Nicole and I are both men, and Amanda has made it clear since day one that she doesn't think our lifestyle is natural, and that she hopes we don't corrupt her son, who is 32 BTW. She's awful, but she controls a significant chunk of the money that was supposed to be covering the reception costs, so we have to tolerate her. Amanda loves this illness storyline. Why? Because it puts Nicole in a vulnerable, suffering, almost martyr-like state, and it gives Amanda an excuse to swoop in and be the nurturing mother. Last Thursday, I was trying to talk to Nicole about the $85 plumber charge we incurred because she flushed some massive hairball down the toilet. I was trying to be calm, but honestly I was stressed because my overtime hasn't cleared yet, and I only have $200 left in my checking account after paying the rent. I said, honey, we need to be more careful. That $85 is coming out of the food budget. Amanda was on speakerphone. She is always on speakerphone, and she cut me off. Justin, honestly, stop stressing Nicole with money matters. She's going through a difficult diagnosis. You need to focus on supporting her emotional journey, not trivial things like plumbing bills. I felt the blood rush to my face. I wanted to scream, it's not trivial when we're broke, AMANDA, but I held it in. Nicole just laid on the couch watching a reality show, looking pale and delicate. I should mention my work role here. I am the separation phase navigator. My job is to handle complex conflicts, usually between family members fighting over an elderly parent's care plan, and guide them through the messy emotional process of separating from old expectations and moving toward a realistic future. I am literally trained to spot emotional manipulation, projection, and denial. And yet I was blinded by the person I loved. Past me was such an idiot. The actual diagnosis happened last Friday. Nicole finally went to see a specialist, a friend of Amanda's, surprise, surprise. She came home at 5:30 p.m. looking absolutely shattered. She sat me down on the IKEA couch, the one we spent 3 hours assembling, and just stared at me. "It's bad, Justin," she whispered. My stomach dropped. I genuinely thought maybe she had something serious. Like real life-threatening serious. I was instantly flooded with shame for doubting her. I reached out to hold her hand and she pulled away. "What is it, Nick? Tell me." She pulled out a crumpled sheaf of papers. The specialist confirmed it. "I have complex attention-seeking disorder." I blinked. I must have misheard her. "Complex what did you say? Complex regional pain syndrome, CRPS?" "No," she insisted, her voice tight. "CASD, complex attention-seeking disorder. It means my brain chemistry is wired to create or exacerbate physical symptoms when I feel emotionally neglected or unsupported." I paused. I was processing this. My training kicked in. CASD? That's not a recognized medical diagnosis in the DSM-5. That sounds like something a scam artist would print out of a cheap medical textbook, or maybe something she saw on an obscure corner of the dark web. I looked at the papers she handed me. The letterhead was weirdly generic and the physician's name was illegible. "Nicole," I started, trying to keep my voice level. Wait, what are you saying? This isn't a recognized diagnosis. This sounds like an incredibly difficult, maybe psychological pattern of behavior. It's not a neurological disease." She started to cry, full body, ugly crying, mascara everywhere. You see how you minimize my suffering, your objection making my illness. This doctor is specialized in difficult diagnoses, Justin, and he said the only possible way for me to achieve stability and avoid total burnout and collapse is for me to remove all stressors from my life and focus entirely on treatment. I asked, dread pooling in my gut. "What exactly does remove all stressors mean, Nicole?" She wouldn't look at me. "It means the wedding is off indefinitely. The pressure of planning, the expectation of performance, the stress of having Amanda involved, it's too much. The doctor said I need a treatment plan involving complete social isolation, energy conservation, and a total reframing of my life goals. The wedding is off, 6 weeks out, 20 grand already spent." I felt numb, but the rage was building. This wasn't about illness. This was a narrative being constructed to allow her to exit our life together without taking responsibility for the debt we'd accrued or the emotional mess she was making. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and started pacing, forgetting I hadn't eaten anything since leftover pizza at 9 a.m. "You're telling me that a fake diagnosis allows you to just cancel our life? What about the venue, the caterer, the massive cost of that non-refundable cake we ordered?" She sniffled dramatically. "You're being dramatic. Money is just money, Justin. My health is paramount. And the doctor specifically said that any partner who questions the validity of my complex attention-seeking disorder is part of the problem and contributing to the severity of my symptoms." The gaslighting was so thick I could practically choke on it. I looked at her lying there draped in a luxurious velvet blanket I bought her from Target, scrolling TikTok while claiming total exhaustion. And then my phone buzzed. It was a Zelle notification. Patrick Smith, 32M, had just requested $347 from me, labeled "Emotional Support Fee, Chronic Fatigue Solidarity." I swear I saw red. Patrick, who copies literally everything, was now copying her symptoms and attempting to financially capitalize on her fake diagnosis. The audacity of these two. I threw my phone onto the counter and looked at Nicole. "You know what? I need space. I need to process this difficult diagnosis." I grabbed my keys, my wallet, and my gym bag, which has been in my car since Monday. I slammed the apartment door of 3B so hard I think I rattled the Ring doorbell. I drove here to the gas station convenience store parking lot. I've been here for 3 hours texting my sister, who responded, "I'm gonna kill him and the friend, say the word," and eating ice cream. But that's not even the kicker. While I was sitting here trying to formulate a rational email to the wedding planner about the indefinite postponement, I got a series of texts, not from Nicole. From Grace Fitzgerald, 19F, the narcissist intern who worships Nicole. Grace is usually all about main character energy and filtering everything, but these texts were raw, panicked, and full of typos. Grace 3:02 a.m. "Justin, are you awake? This is important." Grace 3:02 a.m. "I saw you drive away." Grace 3:03 a.m. "You have to see this. I know it sounds crazy, but." Grace 3:04 a.m. "Amanda Khan showed up at Nicole's apartment an hour ago wearing like a nurse outfit." A nurse outfit. Amanda, the homophobic future mother-in-law who thinks I am the devil incarnate, wearing a nurse outfit at 2 a.m. I texted back, instantly skeptical. "Grace, WTF are you talking about? Did you drink too much energy drink?" Grace 3:06 a.m. "I am serious. She was carrying a huge black bag. She said she was administering the first step of the treatment plan. I was supposed to be in the living room doing a supportive meditation for Nicole, but I went to the bathroom and peeked." Grace 3:07 a.m. "Justin, Nicole told Amanda that the doctor suggested she might need a temporary chemical intervention to reset her brain chemistry because of the stress you caused. I think Amanda is doing something really messed up." Grace 3:08 a.m. "I heard Nicole arguing with her. She was saying, 'No, I thought you just meant the vitamins, not the injection.'" Grace 3:09 a.m. "Amanda just left. Nicole is crying really hard, but she keeps saying she can't call an ambulance because she's too dizzy to talk, and if she calls anyone it will ruin the treatment narrative. I think the diagnosis is fake and Amanda is using it to control her, and now Nicole is actually hurt and scared. Grace 3:11 a.m. Justin, I took a picture of the syringe wrapper and the bottle Amanda brought. It says lorazepam. The date is expired by 2 years. I'm leaving. I can't be here. She made me promise not to tell anyone, but I'm worried. PLS, tell me what to do. I looked down at the text showing the grainy picture of an expired medication wrapper. The complex attention-seeking disorder was obviously bullshit. But Amanda Khan, the woman who hates my guts and controls the wedding budget, just potentially injected my almost wife with expired anti-anxiety medication under the guise of an experimental treatment plan for a fake diagnosis. I feel my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. I am not even thinking about the wedding anymore. I need to know what the hell Amanda just did to Nicole. What do I do? Do I call the police? Do I go back to the apartment and confront Amanda's ghost? Do I tell Nicole I know the diagnosis is fake even if she's currently in crisis? I am literally hyperventilating in this parking lot. I am driving back to the apartment right now. I just hope I am not too late. Okay, I'm back. It's 7:15 a.m. now. I drove straight from the convenience store doing 85 in my Honda Civic the whole way, which is definitely not separation phase navigator material, but whatever. Adrenaline is a powerful drug. I left the melting Talenti tub in the cup holder. I walked into the apartment and the air was thick, not with tension but with actual cloying incense. Nicole must have lit 3 different stress relief candles. The place smelled like lavender and panic. The living room was exactly as I left it, Nicole still draped on the Target velvet blanket, except now she wasn't scrolling TikTok. She was pale, shaking slightly and staring at the ceiling. I walked straight past her and into the kitchen, grabbing a glass of water, trying to force myself to breathe. My original plan, formulated in the panic of the parking lot, was to burst in, yell about the expired lorazepam, and demand she call a real doctor. But when I saw her actually looking terrified and sick, my training kicked in. Unfortunately, I couldn't escalate the crisis. I put the water down on the coffee table hard enough that it made the IKEA wood shudder. Nicole, I said, keeping my voice low and totally flat, we need to talk about Amanda. She flinched. Seriously, she looked like she'd been caught shoplifting. Justin, why are you back? I said I needed space. The CASD diagnosis means I need minimal stress exposure. Her voice was slurred. It wasn't the delicate whisper she'd been using earlier. This was genuinely impaired. The lorazepam was kicking her butt. I know about the lorazepam, Nicole, and I know about the nurse outfit and the expired dates. Grace texted me everything. Instantly, her eyes shot open, widening in panic. Grace, she wouldn't. She promised she was my ally. Grace is 19 and terrified that Amanda Khan just poisoned her mentor with a sedative for a fake illness. He's not stupid, just narcissistic. She knows real drama when she sees it, and this is prime content, BTW. I pulled out my phone and showed her the picture of the wrapper. She tried to snatch the phone, but she was too slow and dizzy. Justin, stop. This is part of the treatment plan. Amanda is helping me. The doctor said it was an experimental, holistic approach to calming the sympathetic nervous system, and stop. I cut her off. The doctor is fake, Nicole. CASD isn't a real thing. It's not in the DSM-5. It sounds like something you Googled because you want a reason to quit your life without being the bad guy. And Amanda is leveraging your desire for attention and this fake diagnosis to medically assault you because she wants you to be dependent on her, and she wants me gone. It was brutal. Saying it out loud felt like tearing up the last 2 years of my life, but I couldn't hold it back anymore. Nicole started to cry again, but this time it wasn't the performance crying from the day before. This was true distress. No, it's real. I am sick. I'm so exhausted, Justin. I can't function. Why are you always objection-making me? This is exactly what the specialist warned me about. He said if you don't support the diagnosis, the symptoms will get worse. The symptoms are worse because Amanda just pumped you full of expired benzodiazepines, Nicole. She is trying to control you. She hates me and she's weaponizing your need for a narrative against both of us. I sank down onto the edge of the couch, running my hands through my hair. This was exactly what I navigate at work: complex family dynamics where one person weaponizes a real or perceived vulnerability to manipulate the conflict and isolate the perceived threat. Except usually the stakes are fighting over which nursing home gets grandpa, not expired sedatives and a $20,000 canceled wedding. I'm calling a friend who's a doctor. We need to get you checked out, I said firmly. Nicole shook her head violently. No, if I tell anyone it ruins everything. Amanda said she'll cut off the reception funds completely. She said she'll tell the nonprofit board about the stress I am under and force me to take a leave of absence. She promised me this treatment would make me well enough for us to eventually get married, just later, once you prove you're supportive. I stared at her, genuinely horrified. The sheer depth of the manipulation here was staggering. Amanda didn't want the wedding to happen, period, but she was dangling the prospect of a delayed wedding to keep Nicole compliant with the treatment. Nicole, needing validation and a way out of the current stress, was buying the whole terrible package. She's blackmailing you, Nicole. She's literally drugging you and blackmailing you into staying silent so she can isolate you from me. Do you not see this? Nicole looked small and broken. But what if she's right? What if I am just a stressor? That was my breaking point. I stood up, grabbing my keys again. I am done, Nicole. I am done being the separation phase navigator for my own life. I will call someone to check on you, but it won't be me. You need help, but that help involves real doctors and accountability, not Amanda's expired stash. You need to decide right now if you want me to call a legitimate physician, or if you want to keep playing this game with your mother-in-law. Because either way, I'm not sticking around to watch the next phase of this difficult diagnosis narrative unfold. She just weakly buried her face in the velvet blanket and mumbled, "Just go, Justin. Go be dramatic somewhere else." So I went. I did call her colleague, a woman named Denise, who I knew was stable and non-dramatic. I kept the story vague, just saying Nicole was extremely distraught and possibly had a bad reaction to some holistic vitamins Amanda gave her, and asked Denise to check on her. I knew Denise would call a real doctor if things looked bad. I drove straight to work. Yeah, I know it was Saturday, but I needed the quiet of the office and the strong, free nonprofit coffee. I sat in my cubicle, which is literally sectioned off with sad gray fabric walls, and just stared at my monitor, trying to construct a timeline of the last 3 months. I realized I wasn't just blind, I was complicit. I should have challenged the profound fatigue earlier. I should have called out the TikToks. I should have told Amanda to take her reception money and shove it, but I didn't. I was a separation phase navigator who failed his own separation phase because I was too focused on keeping the peace and affording the $43 Trader Joe's bill. So 2 days later, Monday morning, the bomb finally dropped at the nonprofit. The grapevine moves fast, and thanks to Grace Fitzgerald's dramatic, cryptic Instagram stories, which showed filtered tears and the hashtag invisible wounds, everyone knew something was up with Nicole. I was trying to focus on a complicated case involving a fight over a DNR, when Patrick Smith, the friend who copies everything, showed up at my cubicle. Patrick wasn't wearing his compression gloves today. He was wearing a solemn black turtleneck, a strange choice for 75-degree weather, and a pair of reading glasses that I had never seen him use before. "Justin," he whispered dramatically, leaning over my fabric wall, "I need to speak to you about the complex attention-seeking disorder." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "Patrick, I am working, and it's not real, it's fake. Nicole made it up." Patrick shook his head slowly, like he was a sage dispensing ancient wisdom. "No, Justin, it's very real, and Amanda Khan is my separation phase navigator now." I almost choked on my free coffee. "What?" Well, she saw how supportive I was being, recognizing the profound fatigue and the need for energy conservation. "She saw that you, Justin, were exhibiting classic gaslighting behaviors, objection making the difficult diagnosis. She told me I was highly empathetic and highly susceptible to the same kind of attention deficit fatigue." I sat back in my squeaky office chair, staring at the sheer magnificent audacity of this man. "Patrick, are you telling me that Amanda Khan, who hates our guts, is now mentoring you, my best friend, through a fake illness that you copied from my almost-fiancee, whom you claim to be supporting?" "Exactly," Patrick beamed, completely missing the horror of the situation. "And she told me I need a complete treatment plan to reframe my life goals. I realized that my original life goal to be your best man was causing me undue stress and performance anxiety." "Oh my God, Patrick, what are you saying?" "I'm saying I can't be your best man, Justin. I have to prioritize my health and energy conservation. I'm focusing on my own difficult diagnosis, which Amanda is helping me treat. She's sending me personalized vitamin packs, and she suggested I ask you for the $347 back because the emotional support fee was, quote, too taxing on my sympathetic nervous system to calculate properly." I couldn't even be mad about the $347 Venmo request anymore. The sheer meta-level chaos of this was mind-blowing. Amanda was now running a full-scale, non-profit-adjacent cult of fake illness, recruiting vulnerable people, first Nicole, now Patrickin, using their emotional deficits to isolate them and position herself as the ultimate nurturing mother-healer figure. "Patrick," I said, looking him dead in his turtleneck-wearing, fake glasses-using face, "you are being used. She's manipulating you both because she thrives on control and drama, and she's trying to separate us." Patrick just sighed dramatically. "See, more objection-making. I'm too stressed to deal with this conflict, Justin. I'm starting my social isolation phase now. I need to focus on treatment." He dramatically waved his hand and walked away, probably to post a photo of his new vitamin packs on LinkedIn. 3 days after that, Wednesday. I hadn't spoken to Nicole since Saturday, but Denise confirmed she was physically fine, just extremely sedated and emotionally volatile. Nicole told Denise that I had a narcissistic reaction to her diagnosis and that she needed protection from my toxic negativity. The protection was Amanda, of course, who had apparently moved some of her stuff into our apartment and was now running a full-time, round-the-clock wellness retreat. This meant my apartment was compromised. I couldn't go back, not just because I needed space, but because I literally didn't trust Amanda not to give me a stress reduction injection next. I needed to secure my assets and figure out the wedding debt. This is where the logistics got real. I called an attorney specializing in partnership separation, which cost me the last $300 I had. The attorney, a very tired woman named Clara, listened to the entire complex attention-seeking disorder, expired lorazepam, and homophobia saga with a completely straight face. "Mr. Shaw," Clara said, adjusting her glasses, "this isn't a medical issue. This is financial and emotional abuse, heavily centered on manipulation of a shared resource, the wedding fund, and the physical space, your shared lease." She broke it down. One, the wedding fund. Since Nicole unilaterally canceled the wedding based on a non-recognized medical condition, she is technically in breach of our planning contract. Most of the contracts were in both our names. We could try to sue the venues, but we'd likely only recoup a small percentage. 2, the lease. We are both on the lease until November. I can't just move out and stop paying, or my credit is screwed. Nicole and Amanda are holding the physical space hostage. 3, the diagnosis. Clara said the fake CASD diagnosis was actually useful, ironically. It showed a pattern of deceptive conduct and emotional instability, which would look very bad for Nicole if we had to go to small claims court over splitting joint debt. Clara's advice was simple. You need to get your things out safely, secure your finances, and initiate a formal legal separation. Since she is claiming illness and is financially dependent on her mother-in-law, she will likely fight you on the joint debts, but we have evidence of her deception. I had to get into the apartment while Amanda wasn't there. I enlisted the help of my sister, Zara, the one who said she'd kill Patrick and Nicole. Zara flew in the next day, Thursday, armed with 3 industrial-strength storage bins and a plan worthy of a military operation. We knew Amanda went to her weekly bridge club, I wish I was joking, every Thursday from 1:00 p.m. to 4:00 p.m. We had a 3-hour window. I called Nicole, keeping my voice neutral, telling her I was stopping by to pick up my winter coat. I didn't mention Zara. We got there at 1:15 p.m. Nicole was still deeply entrenched in her wellness retreat, lying on the couch, surrounded by humidifiers and crystals. She barely looked up. "Don't make noise, Justin. My sympathetic nervous system is resetting," she mumbled. "Noted," I said. Zara, who is 5'9" and terrifying, immediately went into our shared bedroom and started bagging my clothes, my books, my Peloton shoes, and every single thing with my name on it. While Zara was loading the bins, I went to the joint filing cabinet. We had a shared savings account for the wedding, which contained about $7,000 left. We had agreed not to touch it. I opened the file. The account statement was there. The balance was $300. I felt cold. I grabbed the most recent statement, which was dated 2 days ago Monday. Nicole hadn't been spending $347 on Amazon. She hadn't been ordering frivolous things. The money was gone. I looked closer at the withdrawal line. It wasn't a bunch of small transactions. It was one single transfer, initiated Monday morning, $6,700 transfer to Amanda Khan Wellness Treatment Fund. Amanda wasn't just controlling Nicole. She had convinced Nicole to funnel our wedding savings directly into Amanda's pocket, claiming it was necessary for the complex attention-seeking disorder treatment plan. I walked back into the living room, holding the statement in a shaking hand. Zara paused her packing behind me. "Nicole, where's the wedding money?" Nicole covered her ears dramatically. "I can't discuss financial stressors, Justin. It ruins the treatment. $6,700, Nicole. Where is it? It was transferred to Amanda Khan 2 days ago." She lowered her hands, looking guilty but trying desperately to maintain the fragile CASD narrative. "It's an investment, Justin. She's helping me. The treatment is expensive. The specialized supplements, the holistic diagnostic testing, the energy retraining, it all costs money. Amanda is taking care of it." "She stole it, Nicole. She convinced you to liquidate our future and give it to her under the guise of treating a fake disease. She hates us. She has never wanted this wedding to happen. This wasn't about escaping stress. This was about escaping responsibility and giving Amanda the control she always wanted." The silence stretched. Nicole finally sat up, tears welling, but the foundation of her denial was starting to crack under the weight of the evidence. She looked from the statement in my hand to the storage bins Zara was dragging through the hall. "You're leaving me?" she whispered. "I am separating myself from a dangerous, emotionally manipulative situation orchestrated by a woman who is actively poisoning you and robbing us blind. Yes, I am leaving." I snapped photos of the bank statement with my phone, put it back in the file, and grabbed my laptop. "I'm calling Clara. We're going to file a police report about the money and the medical battery, the expired lorazepam. I mean, you need to decide if you want to be a victim in Amanda's narrative or if you want to be the one who finally calls the police on her." I didn't wait for an answer. Zara and I loaded the Honda Civic until the suspension was screaming. I took a few minutes to change the apartment Wi-Fi password and the Netflix password, petty yes but satisfying 100%. We drove straight to Zara's temporary sublet across town. I was officially homeless but free from the incense and the velvet blanket. A week went by where I was basically a ghost. I started sleeping at Zara's place on a terrible air mattress, working remotely and talking to Clara, the lawyer. We filed the reports. The police were initially skeptical about the complex attention-seeking disorder, but the expired lorazepam wrapper, the transfer of funds, and the clear documentation of Amanda's intent to disrupt the wedding made them take the medical battery and theft claims seriously. Clara also sent a formal separation notice to Nicole, asking her to vacate the apartment by the end of the month so I could find a subletter, or to agree to pay the full rent herself, which she obviously couldn't afford. The drama at the nonprofit hit a crescendo. Grace Fitzgerald, bless her little narcissistic heart, was accidentally my greatest ally. She posted a very cryptic, highly filtered series of videos talking about how the true narcissists are the ones who weaponize vulnerability, and how sometimes the main character has to expose the real villain. She never named names, but everyone knew. Patrick Smith, meanwhile, had reached the apex of his copying behavior. He called me totally stressed yesterday. "Justin, I think I've reached the collapse phase," he whined. "Amanda told me I need a chemical intervention too, but the vitamins aren't working. She tried to give me a weird tasting tea and told me it was an ancient sleep aid, but it made me hallucinate a little." "Patrick, run. She is trying to control you like she controlled Nicole," I said, dead serious. "But she promised me a new job at her consulting firm. She said I could be her executive wellness coordinator and get off the nonprofit grind. She stole $6,700 from my wedding fund, Patrick. She wants you isolated and dependent." It finally seemed to click for him. The financial angle was apparently more motivating than the actual danger. He hung up abruptly. Update: this morning, Friday, I woke up to 14 missed calls from Patrick and a very long text chain. It seems Patrick finally had his character development moment. He realized that Amanda was using him, not mentoring him. He decided to leverage his copying skills one last time, but for good. Patrick, 2:17 a.m. Dude, I went to her house. I wore the black turtleneck. I looked really sick. Patrick, 2:17 a.m. I told her the complex attention-seeking disorder was flaring up and I needed proof of my job offer and the first month's salary up front in cash. Patrick, 2:18 a.m. She was so eager to control me she gave me $500 cash and showed me a text exchange with Nicole where she was instructing Nicole on exactly what symptoms to exhibit next week so she could maintain the treatment narrative with Denise. Patrick, 2:19 a.m. I screenshotted everything. The job offer, the cash, the texts. I called her out. I called her a homophobic fraud who preys on vulnerable people. Patrick, 2:20 a.m. I grabbed the cash and left. I feel terrible for Nicole. I realized I haven't been supporting her. I've just been enabling my own attention-seeking behavior by copying her symptoms. TBH, I'm an idiot, Justin. I am so sorry. I'm sending you the $347 back right now, and I'm taking Amanda's $500 and giving it to Nicole as a recovery fund. I blinked at the screen. Patrick, the friend who copies everything, finally copied the right thing, a spine. This morning I drove back to the apartment one last time with Clara's legal assistant to officially change the locks. Nicole was still there sitting on the couch, but now she wasn't delicate. She looked tired, angry, and finally lucid. Amanda was gone. The police called, Nicole said, her voice raspy. She was wearing my old college sweatshirt. They asked about the lorazepam and the $6,700. I nodded. Clara advised me to file the report. I told them Amanda helped me. I said she was trying to administer the treatment plan. Did you tell them that CASD isn't real and that she stole our savings? Nicole looked down at her hands. I told them the diagnosis was complex and I didn't realize the money was a fee for the treatment and not just a transfer for a later investment. She was still clinging to the edges of the narrative, still trying to protect herself from the shame, but it was thinner now. Nicole, Patrick showed me the text. She was instructing you. She planned this entire thing. She hated me and she used your stress and your fear of accountability to try and ruin me and take our money. I know, she whispered. It was the first time Shed admitted anything. I was so exhausted, Justin. The wedding, the money, the job. It was so much pressure to be the perfect, organized objection maker. When she offered me the diagnosis, it felt like permission to stop. Permission to be taken care of. I didn't care what the diagnosis was as long as it gave me an out. She finally looked up at me. There was no mascara running, no dramatic sighs, just exhaustion. The wedding is definitely off, Justin, and I think us being together has to be off too. I need real help, not Amanda and not another narrative. I need to figure out why I was so willing to let a fake illness save me from our life. That was the closure I needed. It hurt, but it was honest. It was the truth of the separation phase. It wasn't clean. She didn't admit full fault, but she admitted to the core issue, the inability to face reality and the need for a protective narrative. I agree, I said softly. You need to figure out your own narrative now, Nicole. Without me and without Amanda. The legal assistant changed the locks. I handed Nicole the new keys. Clara is going to contact you about the lease buyout. Patrick sent you $500 BTW. Use it to get a real therapist. I walked out of 3B for the last time 5 weeks later. I'm typing this from my new apartment, which is basically a shoebox in a neighborhood I can barely afford, but the air mattress is gone and I have a real bed. I'm eating ramen every night, but in GL I'm sleeping more peacefully than I have in 2 years. The police investigation is ongoing. Amanda Khan denied everything, claiming the money was a loan, and the lorazepam was just a mild sedative she uses for her own anxiety that she shared with Nicole in a moment of maternal care. Because she has money and influence, it's dragging out, and she'll probably get away with a slap on the wrist, TBH. The wedding debt is still being sorted out between the lawyers. It's going to hit my credit score hard, but I'm fighting to make Nicole pay her share since she caused the unilateral breach. The most satisfying development, Grace Fitzgerald. She used the whole debacle without naming names, just focusing on toxic mentors and invisible abusers to launch her new mental health advocacy TikTok channel, and she's gone viral. She's now applying to journalism school. She's still a narcissist, but at least she's using her main character energy for something constructive, I guess. Patrick and I are tentatively rebuilding our friendship. He admitted he was mirroring my entire life because he felt invisible and lacked identity. We're going to therapy together, separate sessions, obviously. He's still annoying, but the copying is less intense and he's actually doing his job now, which is a miracle. Nicole. She did agree to the lease buyout, realizing she couldn't afford the place alone. She's back living with her older sister, not Amanda, and is finally seeing a real therapist who is working with her on her emotional regulation and accountability issues. I still get weird, sporadic texts from her, sometimes accusatory, sometimes apologetic, but I've established a firm boundary. All communication goes through Clara. I am sticking to the separation phase. I'm still working at the nonprofit. I got a raise, which helps. My supervisor said I handled the personal crisis with surprising poise, which is funny because I spent 2 weeks crying in the supply closet. But I realized that I'm actually a really good separation phase navigator. I just needed to apply my training to my own life. I was always focusing on fixing other people's conflicts that I ignored the toxic, high-stakes conflict right next to me. I haven't dated anyone. I'm taking a hard break. I'm spending my weekends paying off that stupid Talenti bill and focusing on my financial recovery. It's messy, complicated, and I lost $20,000 and the person I thought I was going to marry to a combination of attention-seeking, homophobia, and expired medication. It's not a clean breakup. There was no grand apology, no sudden realization from everyone, but I'm okay. I survived the difficult diagnosis and I navigated my own separation phase. I guess I finally realized that I am not the bad guy for calling out a lie, even if it feels incredibly uncomfortable. I am just the guy who stopped enabling the drama. Yesterday I bought a new, cheaper coffee maker and it worked on the first try. That felt like a massive victory, honestly. Anyway, that's the update. Wish me luck with the lawyers. And never ever trust a doctor's letterhead you can't read. Seriously.